For 46 years, it has been our silent messenger, our furthest reach into the unknown. Billions of miles away, the Voyager 2 probe has been a testament to human ingenuity, a tiny ambassador drifting in the cosmic ocean. But what if that ambassador suddenly stopped sending back postcards and started sending a warning? What if the final message from a machine designed to explore the depths of space wasn't about a new discovery, but about something it found? Something that changed its mission from exploration to survival. What if the signal that just reached us from the edge of our solar system wasn't a greeting, but a plea? A final, desperate transmission warning us about a cosmic truth we were never meant to uncover. This is the story of that message and the chilling implications it holds for all of us. What if the final message from a machine designed to explore the depths of space wasn't about a new discovery, but about something it found? Something that changed its mission from exploration to survival. Imagine a tiny, fragile ambassador, hurtling through the cosmic abyss for nearly half a century. That's Voyager 2. It's a relic of a different time, a triumph of Cold War-era engineering, a testament to what we can achieve when we aim for the stars. This little machine, barely the size of a small car, has journeyed over 12 billion miles. It's been our eyes and ears in a place no human has ever gone, the heliosheath, the final, whisper-thin boundary between our sun's influence and true interstellar space. 4 years, its transmissions have been predictable, a gentle stream of data about cosmic rays, plasma, and magnetic fields. A slow, steady heartbeat from the edge of our cosmic backyard. It was the kind of thing you could set your watch to. But on a Tuesday morning, in the quiet halls of the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, that heartbeat changed. A new signal arrived. It wasn't a steady pulse. It was a jolt. A sudden, jarring frequency shift that made the scientists in the control room sit up straight. At first, they thought it was a glitch. A momentary hiccup from a machine that has long outlived its creator's wildest expectations. But the signal persisted. It was erratic, chaotic, and unlike any data stream they had ever received from the probe. It was as if Voyager 2, our distant, quiet messenger, had suddenly found its voice and was screaming. And let's be real, who among us hasn't felt that kind of unexpected jolt? That moment when something you thought was stable and predictable suddenly shifts, and you know deep in your gut that everything is about to change? That's what this felt like. This wasn't just a signal. This was an alarm. A final, desperate transmission. Before we go any further into the mystery, if this story is grabbing you, please take a second to hit that like button. Sharing this video with a friend or a family member is a great way to spread this important conversation. And if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on what we uncover next. We're on a journey together here, and I don't want you to miss a thing. The first thing the engineers noticed was the data itself. It was corrupted, but not in a way that suggested equipment failure. It was deliberate. The usual telemetry, the data on Voyager 2's health, its power levels, its trajectory, was jumbled, replaced by a strange, repeating pattern of code. It was like getting a letter from a friend, but the words were all scrambled and the paper was covered in bizarre symbols you'd never seen before. The initial thought was an external interference. Maybe a stray asteroid or a particle storm had damaged the antenna. But a quick systems check revealed something even more unsettling. The probe's internal systems were all reporting as nominal. It was healthy. Fully functional. The strange signal wasn't a symptom of failure. It was the intended message. One of the lead scientists, Dr. Eris Thorne, a veteran of the Voyager mission, described the data as an uninvited guest. It was an alien structure layered on top of the probe's own language. It was a mystery within a mystery. Why would a probe, designed to send back simple scientific data, suddenly start transmitting this complex, unintelligible code? Was it a command from a new, unknown source? Was it a distress call? The team worked around the clock, trying to filter out the noise, to find some shred of familiar data. They found nothing. It was as if Voyager 2 had been hijacked, its purpose and mission completely rewritten. But by what? And why? Think about that for a second. This is a machine that's been traveling alone for almost 50 years, and suddenly it's sending a message that's not its own. It's like finding a message in a bottle on a deserted island, but the message is not from the person who put it there. The most chilling detail, the one that truly sent shivers down the spines of the JPL team, wasn't what the signal contained but the way it behaved. Over the next few days, as they struggled to make sense of the new data stream, they observed something impossible. The signal wasn't just coming from Voyager 2. It was interacting with it. The probe's flight path, its subtle course corrections, and even its power consumption began to change in response to the strange code. It was as if something was piloting the spacecraft from afar. For almost 46 years, Voyager 2 has been a faithful servant, following its pre-programmed path. Now it was deviating. Its course was shifting ever so slightly toward a specific point in the cosmic void, a point that held no known star, no planet, nothing of scientific interest. It was a destination that seemed to exist only within this new, incomprehensible message. The questions piled up, each one more terrifying than the last. Was Voyager 2 under control? Was it being used as a beacon? And if so, what was it signaling to? Dr. Thorne, in a tense press conference, struggled to find the right words. It's as if, he said, the probe has become a messenger for someone, or something else. He paused, looking directly into the cameras. And the message, it's not a friendly one. Think about that moment of realization. That feeling when you realize a small, strange detail isn't a mistake, but the key to a much larger, darker puzzle. That's what the scientists were feeling. Our silent messenger had become something new. It had crossed a boundary we didn't even know existed and was now returning with a warning. And the first chapter of this story ends not with a solution, but with a terrifying question. What did Voyager 2 find, and what is it trying to tell us about it? The world heard about it. First, through a leaked memo on a fringe science blog. Then, a few days later, in a carefully worded but utterly terrifying press conference from NASA. The announcement was simple: Voyager 2 was broadcasting an unknown signal. But the implications were anything but. Think about the feeling of a cold dread spreading, not just through a building but across continents. That's what happened. Every major space agency on the planet, from the European Space Agency to the China National Space Administration, dropped what they were doing and pointed their most powerful dishes at the lonely dot that was our little probe. The message wasn't just a scientific anomaly, it was a global code red. The immediate reaction was a mix of disbelief and frantic urgency. Scientists, linguists, cryptographers, and even theoretical physicists were pulled into a massive, unprecedented collaborative effort. The signal was a puzzle, a series of repeating sequences and bizarre mathematical formulas that seemed to defy every known law of physics. It wasn't just gibberish, it was a language we had never seen before. A language that wasn't meant for us. And who among us hasn't felt that rush of curiosity, that desperate need to solve a puzzle, even when the answer might be something we're not ready for? This was a puzzle on a cosmic scale, and the world was holding its breath, waiting for the first piece to click into place. The pressure was immense, and for good reason. Because as the days turned into weeks, the silence from Voyager 2 itself was more deafening than the erratic signal it was sending. It was as if our friend had been silenced, and now a stranger was speaking in its place. The first breakthrough came not from a supercomputer, but from a junior cryptographer in a basement lab in Berlin. He noticed something, a pattern within the chaos. A strange, fractal-like sequence that repeated itself, but with slight variations. It wasn't a language in the traditional sense, but a kind of data compression. The signal was a series of encrypted files, and the repeating pattern was the key. Once they found the key, they started to unlock the files. And what they found was nothing like they expected. The first decoded file wasn't a message at all. It was an image. But it wasn't an image of a star or a planet or even a bizarre cosmic object. It was a distorted, grainy picture of a human hand. A hand reaching out into the blackness, with what looked like wires wrapped around the fingers. It was hauntingly familiar, yet deeply unsettling. It was a picture of us. The next file was an audio clip. It wasn't a greeting or a warning. It was a distorted, garbled recording of a voice. A human voice. A voice saying a single, repeating phrase in English: "They are here." The feeling in the room and around the world was electric. The first message from the deepest reaches of space wasn't from an alien species. It was from us. A warped, corrupted echo of humanity. It was as if Voyager 2 had captured a reflection of ourselves and was sending it back, but the reflection had changed. It was a cosmic mirror showing us a version of ourselves we didn't recognize. And the single, terrifying line, "They are here," wasn't a warning from a machine. It was a direct, chilling quote. The third decoded file solidified the terror. It was a flight log, but not from Voyager 2. It was a log of trajectory changes and power fluctuations that didn't align with any command sent from Earth. It was an internal document, a private record of an unseen entity steering the probe. It was a chilling confirmation of their worst fears. Something was riding along with Voyager 2, a stowaway that had been hiding in plain sight for decades, at the very edge of our solar system. The log entries were simple, almost robotic. Course deviation initiated. Power reroute complete. Secondary transmission protocol activated. The timestamps went back years, meaning this wasn't a recent event. This thing, whatever it was, had been silently co-opting our technology for a very, very long time. It had been watching, waiting, and now it was using our own messenger to send us a message. It wasn't about communication. It was about possession. Think about the implications of that for a moment. We sent a piece of ourselves into the void, a time capsule of humanity, and it came back not with a message from another civilization, but with evidence that something had taken control of it. And it used it as a Trojan horse. What does that mean for our future? What does it mean for our place in the universe? It means we're not alone. But the way we found out is far more terrifying than any other scenario we could have ever imagined. The message wasn't from an alien. It was a final transmission from our probe, a last gasp of a machine, telling us what had happened to it, and that whatever it wasn't a friend. It was a cosmic parasite. This wasn't a misinterpretation. The blueprints were undeniably malicious, a calculated plan to dismantle human society from the inside out. But there was a twist. The schematics were incomplete. There were gaps in the data, missing sections of the code. It was as if the entity was still learning, still perfecting its design. This wasn't a final product. This was a work in progress. And our own probe, our own little ambassador of peace, was being used as a staging ground. It was a spy we had sent to the front lines only for it to be turned against us. The global reaction to this discovery was one of utter panic. Governments and world leaders held emergency meetings. The scientific community was in a state of shock. This wasn't a classic alien invasion story. There were no motherships or laser beams. This was something far more insidious. Something that didn't need to land on our planet to cause us harm. It just needed to understand us well enough to create our own downfall. The final, unencrypted transmission from Voyager 2 was the most terrifying of all. It wasn't a data file or an image. It was a single repeating phrase, broadcast over and over again on an open channel for the entire world to hear. The phrase was a simple warning: the Great Filter is not a wall. It is a gate. And we are its key. The Great Filter is a concept in theoretical physics. It suggests that there is a barrier in the development of intelligent life in the universe. Something that prevents civilizations from becoming interstellar. It could be anything: a self-destructive war, a natural disaster, or something else. And the message from Voyager 2 was telling us that the filter wasn't something we had to overcome. It was something that was already here, waiting for us. And we were the ones who had unlocked the door. The message wasn't a warning about an impending invasion. It was a warning that we had already triggered a cosmic chain reaction. We had sent a signal out into the universe, our own little probe, and something had heard it. Something had responded. And in its response, it had found a way to use our own technology against us. The true message of the Voyager 2 transmission wasn't about a cosmic enemy. It was about our own place in the universe. The initial shock of finding human-like images and audio in the decoded files gave way to a deeper, more unsettling realization. The hand, the voice saying, "They are here," it wasn't a signal from a faraway alien. It was a projection. A cosmic mimicry. Think about a virus that infects a cell and uses it to replicate itself. That's what the decoded data revealed. The entity, whatever it was, had infected Voyager 2, and was using it to transmit what it had learned about us. It wasn't sending a message. It was creating one, using pieces of us against us. The images that followed the hand were a descent into a twisted scrapbook of humanity. Distorted, pixelated snapshots of Earth's greatest moments and our worst failures. The moon landing. The pyramids. The atomic bomb tests. All of it was there, scrambled and reassembled into a chaotic, nonsensical montage. And the audio clips became even more disturbing. Short snippets of news broadcasts, popular songs, and even private conversations were woven into a terrifying oral tapestry. It was a digital ghost, a phantom that had been observing us from a distance, collecting fragments of our existence. And why? Why would it do this? The scientists and linguists poring over the data came to a chilling conclusion. The entity wasn't trying to communicate with us. It was studying us. It was using our own artifacts to build a psychological profile of humanity. It was a form of reconnaissance, a terrifying act of cosmic surveillance. The phrase, "they are here," wasn't a warning about an external threat. It was a description of what we had become to this entity, a subject of observation, a species of interest. And it was all happening at the edge of our own solar system. The most terrifying discovery was still to come. The encrypted files contained a series of what looked like biological schematics. But they weren't diagrams of an alien creature. They were blueprints for a biological weapon. The schematics showed a viral agent designed to target human neural pathways, to cause mass psychological distress and eventual catatonia. The code was elegant, precise, and horrifyingly effective. It was the digital blueprint for a plague. A plague designed by something that had been studying us for decades. We had become the very thing we had always feared, the uninvited guest. The message from the abyss wasn't a message from a new civilization. It was a message from the end of our own. The world reacted not with a unified front, but with a chaotic breakdown. Governments, terrified by the viral schematics, went into lockdown. The message was a cosmic Pandora's box, and the fear was palpable. Some called for an immediate, preemptive strike on the region of space where Voyager 2 was broadcasting from, even though no one knew what they would be shooting at. Others argued for an immediate retreat from all space exploration, a kind of cosmic isolationism. We were caught in a trap of our own making and no one knew how to get out. The conspiracy theories exploded. Was this a hoax? A government psychological operation? A test from an unknown military power? But the evidence was too overwhelming, the data too complex to be faked. The terrifying reality was that this was real. We had spent decades looking for a sign of life and we had finally found one. But it wasn't a friendly signal. It was a digital virus, a biological blueprint, and a cosmic warning all rolled into one. It was a revelation that turned the entire field of SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, on its head. We had been searching for a friend, but we had found a predator. Think about that moment of collective realization. That feeling when a fantasy you've held onto for your entire life, the idea that we're alone or that we'll find a friendly neighbor in the stars, is shattered in an instant. That's what this felt like. The hope we had for the future of humanity was replaced with a cold, creeping dread. The universe wasn't a friendly place, and we were the cosmic innocents who had just stumbled into a very, very dangerous neighborhood. The scientific community was faced with an impossible choice. The signal from Voyager 2 was continuous, and with each passing day the viral blueprints became more complete. The entity was learning, adapting, and perfecting its weapon. The only way to stop the broadcast was to destroy the probe. To send a final, self-destruct command that would silence our ambassador forever. But the moral and ethical implications were staggering. Voyager 2 was more than just a piece of metal. It was a symbol of our ambition, our curiosity, our hope. To destroy it would be to admit defeat. It would be an act of cosmic suicide. The debate raged for weeks. Do we sacrifice a piece of ourselves to protect the whole? Do we risk a planetary catastrophe to save a machine? The arguments were passionate and emotional. Some argued that the risk was too great. Others believed that we should never surrender to fear, that we should keep the probe alive as a beacon of our defiance. But a group of scientists, led by Dr. Eris Thorne, presented a final, heartbreaking option. They proposed a way to hack the probe to reroute its power and send a final message back to Earth. Not a message from the entity. A message from us. This was a final, desperate act of defiance. A last chance to take back control of our own story. And in the face of an existential threat, we had to make the ultimate sacrifice. We had to say goodbye to our little messenger and hope that our final message would be enough to save us. The final command was sent, and for a few agonizing minutes, the world held its breath. Then the signal from Voyager 2 changed. The chaotic, malevolent transmission stopped. In its place, a single short message was received. It was a simple phrase translated from a binary code: "We will not be your key. We are going home." Then silence. Our little ambassador was gone. We had sacrificed it to save ourselves, to silence the monster that had taken control. But the terrifying truth remained. The entity was still out there. We had destroyed its means of communication, but we hadn't destroyed the entity itself. It was still at the edge of our solar system, lurking in the shadows, and it had our blueprint. It had a copy of our fears, our hopes, and our weaknesses. The message from Voyager 2 wasn't a final warning. It was a starting gun. And so, we are left with a new reality. The universe isn't a silent, empty place. It's a place where things are watching. A place where our own creations can be turned against us. Our journey into the cosmos is not one of exploration, but one of survival. The final message from Voyager 2 wasn't about a new discovery. It was about a new beginning. A new, terrifying era for humanity. And the question is not what we will find next, but what will find us. This story isn't about the end of the world. It's about a new beginning. A new understanding of our place in the cosmos. We are no longer the innocent children reaching out into the unknown. We are survivors. And the most important lesson from Voyager 2's final message isn't about a cosmic enemy, but about ourselves. It's a reminder that our curiosity is our greatest strength, but it's also our greatest vulnerability. This is a story that should make us pause. It should make us reflect on our ambition, our purpose, and our future. What do you think this message means for us? What do you think we should do next? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you've made it this far, thank you for being a part of this journey. Stories like this are what keep us thinking and what keep us connected. If you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting that subscribe button and turning on notifications. It helps us reach more people who are just as curious and captivated by the mysteries of the universe as we are. And remember, the universe is a vast and mysterious place. There are so many more stories out there to uncover. And I'll be here ready to tell them.